Hi, I'm Brian Mogul, Joy Stanley's guitar player, caregiver. If you don't know me, this is going out in her timeline as well. I have a couple things to say about her. This is my 28th take, so I'm going to just let this sit however it comes out, and I have faith that it will. And this is what's up. This is a bottom line story. Cat's out of the bag. Joy is sick. She's very sick. She's dying, in fact. The lowest estimates is she'll make it through the week. The longest I've been able to get is a year or two, providing that she continues having surgery, the kind of what she's trying to recover from now, which is almost killing her. It's not a very good prognosis. I've heard worse, as a matter of fact, and that's why I'm doing this video. Back in '76, I was a kid, very little kid. My mom was diagnosed with lung cancer. She was given 6 months to live. They took out a third of her lung, and this is during medical industry's dark ages. Medical industry is who spread AIDS. The first cases were at the hospital through contaminated equipment. The same wisdom that brought us that she had her next operation in 1981, 5 years later. Her cancer surgeon had since died. They took out another third of her lung, and this continued on in '83, 6 month prognosis in each case. I don't know if that's just a safe month bet or just happened to be that that's how long they thought she'd live. And anyway, '93 was her last operation, and I'm happy to say that she got a 6 month prognosis there. She died in '96, 3 years later. She outlived every one of the four cancer surgeons who had taken out parts of her lungs. So what does that mean? Well, gee, you'd think that that was a rare case, but then I had cancer. If you guys are wondering why all of a sudden after 20 years of dormancy I pick up a guitar after being an educator and a linguist and everything else, that I'm all of a sudden want to do this, it's because when I did and I thought I was going to die, I thought that I would, one thing I missed the most was playing guitar. And I had a personal communication with my spiritual leader, and he said that I had a year to get my shit together and prove it. And that's why I got 20-year-old girls singing about their boyfriends letting me shred heavy metal over the background. There's no reason in the world that should have happened. The reason it happened is because I would not let it not happen. I went out there, I asked 100 people to sing for me. I still ask 100 people to sing for me every month. It's just that I believe I'm going to do this. Just like I believed I would not have cancer. I beat that cancer without medical technology. It has not come back. It won't come back because I won't allow it. That's just how stubborn I am about reality. And I know this because of not just courses in college about being and nothingness and all the philosophy, but in fact, you realize after 50 years of being around the sun that things happen more because you expect them than because they're due to you. You could be a great vocalist or guitar player, but if you just don't have that level of, I don't know what it is, it's not arrogance. I mean, you guys know me, I'm humble, but I'm arrogant too. But it's an absolute, you don't believe something, you know it. It isn't a matter of hoping and praying to a deity, whether it be God or Satan. What it is, and Jesus meant this in the Gospels, incidentally, when he said the greatest of these is faith, that without faith you can do nothing. He didn't mean hope and pray that it happens. What he meant is convince yourself that it can be, that's what it is. That, and absolutely, that is a requirement in most of life to get anywhere beyond the masses. If you want to try to ascend, be a great ball player, be a great artist, be a great philanthropist, or be known for just being a great person, that you have to absolutely have that as a foundation in your head. So while the rest of the world is out making hospice and funeral arrangements, I'm going to be figuring out what the earliest date I can book for Joy singing with my band. Now, I'm not a lunatic. I do not believe that if you're riding on a motorcycle and there's a brick wall in front of you, if you really believe that wall is not there, you won't hit it. Probably would work, but I'm not going to test it because the Arabs have a proverb I choose to believe is trust in Allah, but tie up your camel. And what that means is you don't not get your kids vaccinated because you're going to trust God to keep them from getting the flu, but you don't diss either one, is the point here, is that we're living under physical rules in this world for whatever reason, either by choice or design or by coincidence, molecular collisions, whatever you want to think is the bottom line is that we have 5 sets of sensory apparatus. uh, which we use to interpret our reality, and they're all flawed. We see a very thin sliver of what's out there visually. Dogs hear frequencies we can't hear, and whales emit frequencies we can't hear. And everything else is subjective, taste, things like this. You can't have a scientific background of what is hot or spicy. These are things that are all perceptive, subjective things that happen with you. Now, if enough people believe the same thing, irrespective of how crazy it is, it will happen. How likely is it that planes would have come about if the earliest flight people had no support for their activities? They would have fizzled out, just like I would have in the first 3 open mic nights, where I completely blew it in my renewed career that my God was giving me extra life to try to run. I've been very quiet about that until now, but since I'm throwing somebody else under the truck, I figured I'd tell you, and you'd understand a lot of this thing. You'd also reevaluate things about how you think about me, I would suspect. I want you to do that with Joy. I do not want you to think of her as in a hospital bed with a tube in her mouth and tape. Yes, that's the perception. And yes, a whole bunch of people that got a $500,000 education agree that she doesn't have much time. I don't care how much time she has. It's a week is better than today. You ask anybody, you wonder why someone would want to live to be 89. Who would want to do that? Somebody who's 88. That's how it works out. You kids ain't going to figure this out until you're older. But those of you that do are going to be way ahead of the game. And there's a few. I never listen to anybody, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't blame you if you did. But Joy is going to recover. I absolutely am going to adopt a faith in this. I don't know if my band's behind it. I've asked them. They seem to be with it right now. We'll check in another month or two, whatever it takes. I'm not looking for singers. And really, this comes to the second part, and the last part of this video is that I can't look for other singers because Joy, quite honestly, has raised the bar so high on the very second time we met at her house that I couldn't tolerate another singer. So, she produced so much in such a short time. I met her 5 weeks ago. I think I've not been by her side 4 or 5 of those days, tops. We were with each other over and over, writing songs. I got stuff on my board, that none of which is publishable yet, but there's maybe I'll put one out. That's cool. But it's crazy that anybody could hit it off. And when we first heard the first 15 minutes of each other, just improvising. Now, this is stuff that I hadn't played. This is stuff that I was making up on the spot. And this is stuff she never thought about doing. Boom. Like, after this, I'm going to post this video that we wrote in like 9 minutes. 9 minutes. Great song. But she and I both knew one thing, is that we never wanted to play with anybody else. When we had heard each other, my band never got quite to that page. She made it to practice once, and she staggered the ones that were there, but it was an off practice. The whole band wasn't there, and unfortunately, didn't really get to see what the final product would have looked like if it were given time to flourish. It'll have that time. I would give my time right now just to have her be able to. I mean, her voice is so much better than my guitar playing. She's the only singer I ever knew that actually warmed up with scales before an impromptu practice at her house before a movie. Just everything was super pro. And that's just what it takes in the music industry. If you think I don't know, I have had more brushes with greatness and have lost more opportunities because I was never that guy. I was the guy who learned just enough to make the song right and not make mistakes. That I missed practice because my day job went late and stuff like this. Unfortunately, that doesn't work in the music industry. You can't get a no from your mom. And I watched people that were far less qualified than myself and my friends go far ahead. In fact, I still see this today right here in the Valley with people I've played with. People who put nothing into it, refuse to sing, refuse to play, have conditions on it. When there's people that are in a hospital, that is their main thing, next to living a life that Jesus wanted, which is one of Joy's strong spiritual issues, is that she spends every day trying to live her life the way Jesus would have liked it. But she's actually one of the very few that actually did. Her soul is as pure and uncontaminated as any child I've ever met. She does not think in demonic, devilish ways like humans, like I do, like any of us do. that we curse ourselves for. How could I have thought that? You know, I'm guessing that I'm not the only one, by the way. But yeah, she is untouched. And if this is an elaborate issue on God's part to recall her to his bosom because she doesn't deserve the pain of living with the disease, then I will step aside. But I am not convinced of that. I am convinced that you believe something strong enough. So when you're thinking of Joy, and this is how you come into play here, when you're thinking of Joy, you think of her as alive. You think of her as singing. You think of her doing. Don't think of her in a bed with a tube out of her mouth, even though that's what it looks like. When you're setting positive thoughts, don't do it because you're hoping or praying that she gets better. You're doing it because you know that you have the power within your mind to change reality. This is absolutely the case. The more people do it, the more that reality becomes unavoidable. Just as if we lose it, the more we can never reach it. When enough people believe that something can't happen, it can't happen. And then the one person who believes it can is a lunatic walking around talking to himself in front of 7-Eleven. You don't want that either. And I'm not that idiot either. I am planning on Joy making a full recovery, and I am not entertaining the thought that she might die. I'm not thinking about what's going to happen to her house, how we're going to clean it out, give her stuff back to her. Nothing like that. It's not a concern. I expect her to recover. I expect to be her caregiver for a while and her guitar player soulmate. I have the blessings of my girlfriend on this, my band on this, her family on this. I love Joy like I've never encountered a soul like that. And this is all the stuff I said, and this is why I'm doing the video, is because she's a very special person. She's not an entertainer. She's a soul. She's a soul that is one of the very best entertainers. I hope you've had the opportunity to see her sing and play, but you haven't had the opportunity to see or hear her sing and play with me. And you will see that. I promise you will see that, and I need your help to make that happen. Faith, that's what faith is. It's believing and knowing, absolutely, for certain. Just like a mathematical equation is going to have one solution, that this one solution, you believe now, right? You see how powerful faith is? This is what we need. We need more people like me out there that are believing that this is going to recover. And I swear I'm going to have a post within a week that's talking about how she's turning around and have some evidence to back it up. If you haven't heard Joy, then I'm going to post my promo wine video from the very first day, a bedside performance as she was sick, writing a song. I was actually writing the words down because she couldn't write. And this is the kind of singer that and, you know, you guys, you have no idea what it's like to live until you're almost at death's door. It's just wrong that someone with this kind of talent and inspiration and love for other people would be taken away from us when there's so many people out there that just abuse it. And it makes me angry and pissed. And I'm not going to end on that note because I'm happy and not pissed. I love you guys. You know, I'm sure I'll have something else to say. Comment as you would like. If you got this far, then you're Joy's friend. Love you. Bye.